Hello, everyone. Welcome to another night of YWAM Denver Live. I'm Jonathan Weister. I've been on staff here for 4 years now. And so tonight I'm going to share basically kind of my personal testimony on how I got to YWAM. But I want to start with a verse, Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. It says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight." This verse has been really real in my life. I've had to rely on this so many times in my life because the plans that I have made, they changed so much, and I had to so much rely on God for his direction in my life and for him to guide me and to trust him in that with my life. I just want to start with go back to when my call into ministry and into missions, and then bring it up to where I'm at now today. But it all starts back when I was in high school. I was at a summer camp, a youth camp, and I was sitting there having a quiet time, and I felt the Lord, and God spoke to me, and he said, "I want you to go into ministry." Okay. I said, okay. I didn't know what that was like, but I said, all right. So I finished high school. So this is the summer between my sophomore and junior year of high school. Finished high school. Then I went off to college. Well, after my freshman year of college, I got to do this thing. The college I went to was Williams-Ewell in Kansas City, Missouri, and we did this thing called Williams-Ewell Camp Team. And part of it was I got to go to Ecuador, but before that I went to Brazil. So I got to go to Brazil and Ecuador in one summer, and God miraculously provided for me in so many ways to be able to go. But anyways, so I enjoyed both of those trips tremendously. It was very different. Each of them was different. One, the Brazil trip, we worked in the favelas, the slums of Rio de Janeiro, and we got to share and love people and see the poor of the poor. In Ecuador, it was working with missionary kids and sharing the gospel and doing vacation Bible school. And that just opened my eyes to missions outside the United States. I had done several, like 3 different mission trips when I was in high school, or junior high, I mean. But they were all in the United States. But this was the first time overseas. Well, I go back to my sophomore year of college, and God really laid it upon my heart, and he said, "I want you to be a missionary." I said, okay, all right, I'll do that. So my plan was, so I finished college, then I grew up Southern Baptist, and in that, and I had an uncle that were missionaries in Africa for 35 years, and, and they were a great influence on me. But anyway, so what I knew of was to go through them, through the Southern Baptist, and what you need to do was go to seminary, get your Master's of Divinity, and then apply with the International Mission Board. So I did that, and while I was there at seminary, I was able to go on 2 other mission trips. That was very impactful for me. Sudan, and then back to Brazil again. But during this time, my last year of seminary, I was interviewing for the International Mission Board to be a missionary for them. And in that process, at the end of my time at seminary, it was during the time when they couldn't send everybody, so they said no. And so I was like, "What next, Lord?" I didn't know, and so I just trusted God and just continued to do work in his service. I could have easily turned back on the Lord and try to figure out do other things, but I decided not to. I persevered and pressed in and to seek him. And well, so this is 2003. Well, the next year, 2004, the church I had been a part of at the time was going in some different directions and everything, so I decided to leave the church. But put my name out as application to start preaching So I got to preach at this church, little church in Kansas City, Missouri area, and started preaching there. And they liked me, wanted me back. I did that for a year, got ordained and licensed, and this church was a good church for me, good to learn and grow in knowing how to preach and how to minister and love on people. But it was basically all people older than me. It was like my grandparents' age and older. And so I needed people more in my life. My friends from the previous church I was part of started going to this Vineyard Church, and so I was part of them, helped them out. After that year of time preaching at the church, they decided to let me go. They wanted to go in a new direction, so I started going to this Vineyard Church. And in that time, that I just continued to plug in and do the work of the Lord there. I got involved in our Awanas program, just everything. But then, so that was 2005, May of 2005, started going there. 2008, I got to go to Haiti for the first time. Really enjoyed that. It really livened me up for missions again. But I still hadn't been set free to do it full time. Well, then about 2010 time frame, had my resume out, and this mission agency based out of Buffalo, New York, saw it and they liked it. And so beginning of 2011, I applied with them. They wanted me to come out and interview, and I did. And they wanted to send me. Do you have a place? I said, I know someone in Haiti our church goes to. So then I was in the process of going. I had to go back to Haiti to check and see if it was a good thing for me to come. And the lady said yes. And in the process before that, my church said, hey, we could help you out by saving you on how much money you have to raise. I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So I went through them. So I went to Haiti 2012, August 2012, was there 10 months. And it wasn't all easy. It was, but it was really good to see the work that the Lord was doing there and is doing. It's still continuing on. I got to teach Bible and geography and some math classes. They wanted me to teach some biology, but I was like, I started out with that, and then I was like, I'm not going to do the kids any good service by teaching biology. We better hand that over to someone else. So I did. So I ended up being there, but it was some tough times and challenging times for me. And I didn't know what God had in store for me even then and afterwards. So I just continued to I finished my time there. It was 10 months. And then I came back to the States. And I could have easily just given up on doing missions. But no, God called me. He had called me back when I was in college. No, I want you to be a missionary. And I just stuck with it. I said, okay, Lord, what was it next? And so my church part got me involved with another couple ministries. Got an opportunity to go to the Bahamas, check out a place there to do Habitat for Humanity. I was there for 10 days. That just wasn't a right fit for me there. Then January, February 2014, I went to Eagle Pass, Texas, along the Mexican border, which is south of San Antonio, about 3 hours. Spent 2 months there working with a Hispanic church and the youth ministry, and try to help them out and try to help encourage the youth and get things going there. And I did everything that they wanted me to do, but after 2 months, they were ready to just go on. And it wasn't me. I was just doing it. And it wasn't that I wasn't, all these times, I wasn't walking in disobedience. I was being obedient. It was just, things just kept happening where it was like, oh, this was, something happened to where I had to go. A no was said, but it was not our circumstances and stuff. And kind of like with what Rachel and Andrew shared last night, is just like, we shouldn't let our circumstances rule us. But anyways, just had to continue to trust the Lord. And then my church finally decided and said, hey, how about YWAM? I said, okay, that sounds like a good idea. So I decided to do. I originally was going to do the Colorado Springs base. Well, in the fall of 2014. Well, they said, "Hey, how about you wait till the spring and do the Crossroads DTS?" I said, "That sounds like a good idea, since I'm a little older." Well, then I waited. I was able to do construction work with a buddy for that time. 2 weeks before I was supposed to go out there, they told me that they might not be able to have run the school. So I said, okay. A week later, they called me, said we're not able to run the school. So then they referred me to the Denver base. And so then I was able to, and that started a month later, I was able to raise more support to be able to come here. Did my discipleship training school, and in that, it was great. I knew this was something that I wanted to do, be a part of. I finished that, did my outreach in the Philippines. That wasn't necessarily fully easy, but it was great. Just ministering to the people we got to go to, and just God opened up many doors of opportunity to share the love of Christ with there. I just think of just the time of when I was able to go to on the beach and minister and share Christ with them, and just used. It was interesting how one of the guys' names was David, and obviously my name's Jonathan. God gave me the idea, hey, share the story of David and Jonathan with them. So I shared the story of David and Jonathan with them, and just how David and Jonathan were friends, and that God desires for us to be friends. And that just gave the opportunity for I had 3 guys to see to the Lord. So I just was able to see that, and that was something that God just struck to me, that I want you to come back and do School of Ministry Development and join staff. So I did that, and then I joined staff 4 years ago, and I was able to, I worked up at our mountain campus for the first term on staff, and then I got to go to Bacalar, Mexico for a scouting trip, and that was great. And then some of the staff members, a couple, Kyle and Jess Aldridge, they were thinking about leading a team to go there, and I was praying about going there, and yes, God said to go. So I went with them, and we went for 7 months, and it wasn't easy, but we really saw the Lord. God wanted us to be there, and it was a tough time for all of us that were there, just dealing with the heat and new culture and everything. But it was just an eye-opening experience. But it was like, and then there was a time. Then we ended up having to come back because we had visa issues where we thought we could go in and stay there 6 months at a time, but found out that you can only be there 6 months in a year's time. So after we were all planning on coming back for Christmas, and so we came back and joined our base here, and I've just been back ever since. But it's always been in my life. I've had these different things that's happened in my life where I've had a no happen, or these obstacles that's happened. But I just kept my focus on the Lord and to continue to press in. And he said to trust Him with all my heart. And I had to trust Him with all my heart. And to not lean on my own understanding. I didn't always understand what was going on. Why are these things happening? Why was this happening? Why did I have to wait? And it was about the waiting too. And I was like it was like, so fall of 1996 was whenever I first felt the call into missions. It wasn't until 2012 that I started to be able to walk that. And so sometimes it takes time. And you can see that in Scripture, just with Joseph and his life, and how God called him and said in dreams that he was going to be a leader, that people were going to bow. And it took him many years before he fulfilled that calling. And you find that in many other Scriptures. But it was like, I could have easily, in any amount of the time along the way in my life, I could have easily given up and said, forget this, Lord. I want to go do my own thing. This is not working out. But no, I knew God called me to be a missionary. But being a missionary is different than what I had expected. I was expecting to be going overseas full time to do work. But no, God's called me here to Denver to participate in the work here. And I do get to go overseas. I was able to go to Thailand and Vietnam and see the Lord do mighty works there. And it was just awesome and great to see the Lord do mighty things in that. And I was just so thankful and appreciative that God did that I stuck to it. And God's been so faithful in that. And I know that He will continue to be faithful in my life. And I just wanted to give you, tonight I just felt like this was just a time to encourage you and to remind you not to give up. And just because something is thrown your way, that there seems like a roadblock in your life, you're not supposed to stop. You're to continue on and persevere. And God will help you, and He will lead you. You may not always understand. We're not always going to understand our paths and our ways, but we got to trust Him in all that. So I just want to encourage you in that. So I'm so glad I was able to share. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow night for our worship time, and we'll see you next time.